Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. We're so grateful to have you here for our customer training session on Access World News Research Collection. My name is Catherine Bergerson. I am the Vice President of Marketing here at NewsBank, and I'll be joined today by my colleague, Deborah Scott. Right now is the perfect time to be looking at how you're leveraging your NewsBank resources. And we know in today's digital world, and access to those online resources has never been more critical. With NewsBank, you can be assured that you are bringing the most credible, vetted information from around the world to your faculty and students, whether they are accessing them on campus, in the library, or remotely. To let you know, this session is being recorded, and we will send out a recording to you in the next few days. Also, all of our contact information, the resources we share, and the slides are available in the handout section. You can download those at any time. While we're here today, we hope to share with you how Access World News can meet your institution's diverse research needs. We'll share best practices on how to pinpoint relevant information quickly. And we will talk about strategies to connect with faculty and students. We have time for questions and answers. So you may see a chat icon on the left side of your screen. If you just click on that, it opens up. Type your question in there. We will pause throughout the conversation today and do our best to get to all of them. And if we run short on time, we commit to getting back to you in the near future. But to kick things off, I'd like to share a bit of background just quickly about NewsBank. We're a leading news and information provider, and we aggregate news sources from around the world for institutions, research institutions, public libraries, and we're proud to share with you that we recently celebrated our 50th anniversary. And all of our resources are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So we thank you for investing in this incredible content. Now, to take a walk through Access World News Research Collection, I'll turn it over to my colleague, Deborah Scott, who is a Senior Customer Engagement Representative. Hi, Deb.
With so many academic institutions using Access World News and America's News, we found that these resources are used not just for current events, they can also meet the varied research needs of your professors and students. On this slide, we've reviewed usage statistics across all academic institutions and found that students and faculty are looking not just for current events, but for information to support a wide array of curricular areas, including social issues for English and social studies assignments, business and entrepreneurship for the latest news and trends locally and around the world. Political science classes use NewsBank for daily coverage of elections as well as historical perspectives on issues. There are international studies, environmental issues, and much more. The next slide demonstrates the types of searches that we see around the topic of environmental issues. All these issues and subtopics are covered by the news media on a local and global level with different perspectives depending upon the region, time period, and publication. Students can explore an event as it happens and look at similar events in history to compare causes, costs, reactions, responses, and policy. For example, national media will report on a major event like a natural disaster for a week or so, and then move on. The local and regional news sources will continue to report on the event or issue and its aftermath for much longer. This rich source of information is one of the strengths of Access World News and America's News and allows researchers to dig deep into an issue or event. So let's get started. Today, we're going to give you a quick overview of Access World News. Your content may differ with global or local content, but all of the search tips and strategies will apply. Access World News is a comprehensive collection of over 13,000 sources from more than 200 countries in almost 20 languages. This vast collection supports research with information on just about any topic. I'll start with the A to Z source list at the top of the screen. As you can see, we have a variety of source types, including transcripts from television and radio broadcasts, trade journals, radio broadcasts, as I mentioned, large and small newspapers, college and university newspapers, and more. You can use the drop-down menu here to sort this list, or you can use the tabs here. As I mentioned, there are more than 20 languages represented, from Afrikaans to Zulu, with English, Spanish, and French the most represented. And this is one way to get to the Spanish language, 274 Spanish language resources. Back on the home page, there are several ways to get into this information, with the large search bar here for a basic search, or a researcher could go to more search options or map search for an advanced search screen where you can search by different fields, dates, and locations. Back on the home page, we can also search by suggested topics. These are searches that our editors have put together on a variety of topics, or a researcher can search with the quick links on the right side of the screen, which are customizable by individual title, state, region, or language. I'm going to start with a search here on climate change. If I want to add more terms, I can add them here, or I can go to my advanced search screen, excuse me. And type in my terms. The results screen here allows researchers to quickly see what an article is about and make decisions about reading further. We have articles from New Zealand, Australia, France, Jordan, all around the world. Students can further refine their search with the limiters on the left by date, source type, name, year, location, and language. I'm going to select location. This prompts the researcher to think about where their information is coming from. We can sort from continent all the way down to the city level. As I mentioned earlier, one of the strengths of Access World News and America's News is the local content and perspectives on an issue. In our product, the only areas with states are Australia and the United States. So this is a quick way for researchers to compare reporting from red states and blue states, or urban and rural areas. I'm going to select continent and select North America and Australia to see how climate change is being discussed in those areas of the world. As you can see, these articles show that there are many facets of an issue. And as I showed you a minute ago, one event can prompt many questions or discussions for research. I'm going to click on a text article here. This is an example of a text article. Your citation information. All text articles have a read news document feature, which is helpful for English language learners and for those who learn better by hearing information. Our keywords are highlighted. A student can adjust the text size. Here's your citation information to export the citation to a tool or copy and paste the citation. We can email, print, download this article as a PDF or to Google Drive. And every time we do save or download this information, we prompt the student to add the citation information. We can also save this to a folder and create a session folder up here with just an email address and a password. And finally, this is the permalink for this article that could be posted in a course page. I will go back to results. That's an example of a text article. Some of our publishers also send us their information in an image feed. And that is a PDF of the document of the day's paper, all keyword searchable. And you can see here Our keywords are highlighted. The navigation at the top of the screen is the same, except for the, let me adjust the size here. The clipping feature here allows us to clip parts of an article. So we might just want this article, or perhaps we want this image down here. But this clipping feature allows us to clip this article. And any time we want to download or save this, we're also prompted for the citation information, to add the citation information. The image edition also allows you, the search bar on the left allows you to scroll to different parts of the paper. So this prompt makes it easier for someone to browse the paper as well. Another way, excuse me, let me go back to the home page. Another way to get into this resource is through suggested topics. Articles in the news tend to be written in layman's terms with pros and cons represented, making it a good research starter for students. It's easier for them to get background information on an issue or topic before jumping into peer-reviewed journals. Our editors, the topics here, are the most searched topics by students and faculty in Access World News. We've worked with our editorial team to craft custom searches to provide highly relevant content so a researcher can find articles on their topic in just 2 clicks. I'm going to try my climate change search again, so I'll click on environmental studies and climate change. This is an example, a great example actually, of an advanced search put together by our editorial team. The search is editable, and the researcher can use the limiters on the left to further refine their search results. This brings me down to a list of 9,000 highly targeted articles. And again, I could then select a particular location or type of article. We've also heard from faculty and librarians that these editorially crafted searches are a great way for them to teach students how to conduct a more complex search and improve their information literacy skills. Another way to another use for Access World News is to compare current events with the past. With many of our sources providing information from the 1980s to the present, instructors are able to take a current event and see how it was discussed years ago. For example, in business news, experts often predict recessions that may never happen. Looking at news reporting from past recessions gives current researchers insight into what to look for and what questions to ask right now. As you can see, a simple search on recession and indicators brings up many current articles from around the world. We can also use the timeline on the left to look at articles from a specific year, like 2008, when there was another recession, or even the 1980s. This allows students to make comparisons, linking the past with the present. Finally, you'll notice the blue quick links on the right side of the screen. As I mentioned earlier, you can customize these for your institution with geographic regions, specific states, languages, or specific titles to make it easier for researchers to find information or even browse the daily newspaper. I'm going to select the San Francisco Chronicle collection. This collection happens to have the historical archives providing coverage from 1865. Please keep in mind that if your institution does not have the historical archives for a particular title, you still have historical coverage in Access World News back to the 1980s. As this gives researchers 40 years of information where they can easily compare current events to historical, such as impeachment trials, race relations, or even fashion trends. This publisher sends us 4 formats of the title: the historical archives, text, image, and a web-only edition. The web-only content is important because most publishers now have a way for readers to access content from their smartphones or computers. Some of the articles found online can be longer than the same article in the print edition, or there may even be articles that didn't make it to the print edition due to space constraints. With this collection, you can be sure to have all the content provided by this publisher. I'll search the term immigration. This brings us over 100,000 articles that contain the term immigration over the past 160 years. The default view is newest first. By selecting oldest, I'll be able to see articles from the 1860s. Most of our historical content is in an image where we've scanned old newspapers to enable searchability. And provide great primary source information. A researcher can further focus their search, let me go back to the results, by adding more keywords or refining by date. So if I select a date 100 years ago, I can see how the term immigration was discussed in the news at that time period. There are so many ways to use Access World News and America's News, but in the interest of time, I'll turn this back to Catherine for questions.
Deborah, thank you so much. That was fantastic. Yes, let's pause for questions. Just a quick reminder, on the left hand of your screen, you'll see a little chat icon. Pop that open and type your question in there. We do have a few. How do I access the content? You briefly mentioned other languages. Could you show us more about how to access content in other languages, please?
Oh, that's a great question. And really, it's a real strength of Access World News. So you can get to the content in other languages through the source list, like I showed you. We can create a quick link over here for Spanish language titles or French, or another way to get into this is to type in your word in this language. So in this case, I'll type in cambio climático, or climate change, in Spanish. And this brings up articles from around the world in Spanish talking about climate change.
Excellent, thank you. We have a question about Discovery Service. Is NewsBank compatible with my Discovery Service?
Yes, we are. There's a, in our resource center on our homepage, newsbank.com, we have more information on how to integrate NewsBank with your discovery services and learning management systems. This is another great way to make the content accessible. In the more access points, the better. We're compatible with Primo, EBSCO, and a few various learning management systems where we have external apps that we can add. Please talk with your customer engagement representative or your account representative if you'd like more information on these integrations.
Excellent, thank you very much. Well, if you think of any other questions, we'll pause again. But now that we know more about this fantastic resource and how to really pinpoint that information, I'd like to share some ideas about how to get it into the hands of your faculty and your students. So these are our top 5 engagement strategies. And as a marketing person, I like to learn from fellow marketing people, and so I am going to share with you examples from other colleges and universities and how their libraries are marketing their NewsBank resources. Number 1, building up your web presence. The more places you can add it, the more likely it is that people will discover it. I know it sounds like a no-brainer, but thinking about a featured resource of the month, or a did you know section, of course A to Z guides, but we have customers that are putting it in their ethnic studies, public administration, and even health sciences is growing more and more popular among our faculty and student researchers. We have brief product descriptions and graphics you can use. You can see here that some of our customers like St. Lawrence University used a graphic that we provided. Others use an article that's relative to their area of the country at DuPont Ball. So there's all sorts of different ways to get people into that resource. Number 2, say it on social. We have ready-to-use social media posts. I don't know if everyone knows this, but NewsBank creates every month ready-to-use posts and graphics that we will email out to you, or you can come to our website and download them. And you can copy and paste them for your own channels, or you can make them your own. Use them just as a starting point. You can see how North Seattle College ran our write-up on Mental Health Awareness Month. University of Florida did a post to highlight their historical newspaper collection, similar to what Deb just showed us in San Francisco, but this is in Florida, so that they could get that into the hands of their faculty and students to raise awareness. And then we see Wichita State used a post just to simply remind people that Access World News is available to them and that they have access to this credible, vetted information that's multiple perspectives from around the world. So just, putting it out there from time to time to remind people on social media. And they also make just a great addition if you do like an e-newsletter. It could be just a little mini write-up called Newsletter Nuggets. And those articles get people into the resource, get them used to using it, and then hopefully they'll explore it more. Number 3 up next is video views. Video is the #1 way to engage right now. And we have a large collection of brief videos. Each are less than 2 minutes. We have some overviews just to get people familiar with the product, or some how-to tutorials. So how to cite is one of our most popular with students and faculty, or how to email an article. If you download this presentation, and again, those icons on the left hand of your screen, there are links to all of this information. We encourage you to utilize our videos, place them near your resource, put them in newsletters, put it on social media. They are here for you to use and share. Discovery services, again, Deb just showed us that web page. We really encourage you to use those links and articles in assignments. This is really growing in popularity. It makes it easy to get the resource into the hands of the students and faculty, and again, reminds them to continue to use it. And you can even add, extra links if there is, additional articles on the subject of interest. That's a great place to embed them. Number 5, your university news. You likely have a magazine, again, newsletter or blog. Offer to submit an article. They often, the content creators are looking for new material. So this is a great way, again, to remind faculty and students about the vast information and those credible news sources in today's world. We know just how important it is to have vetted news sources at their fingertips. You can see here, actually, this is Trish Webster from Auckland, New Zealand, and she wrote a very nice piece on their NewsBank resources and the different groups of students who are utilizing it. At Northwestern, they did a blog, again, mentioning the historical archives that they have available to their students, did a write-up and blog on their historical archives. So again, if you download this presentation, there are links to these articles there, and I hope that you can use them as a guide for yourself. Those are our top 5 engagement strategies, and we know that it is a lot to stay on top of visibility and training, and so we are doing our best to make it as easy as possible for you. We have a marketing and resource center. It's on newsbank.com. The link is right here. It's tailored to universities, community colleges. You can see, all of our ideas are there and more. We have bookmarks you can print. We have search tips. It's often popular with students. Options for writing those blogs and newsletter pieces. So, and if you aren't the communications person at your library or institution, which you may not be, offer to forward this information on. Again, I always like to know that there's additional content out there, so I wouldn't hesitate to reach out and share this information with your colleagues. With that, I'm going to pause again for questions. And Deb, I do see we have another question about incorporating single titles or groups of titles into research guides. Could you talk about that, please?
Yes. Again, on the theme of the more places a student can find these resources, the better. Any of the blue quick links from the home page can be incorporated into your research guides. Just talk to your account representative or customer engagement representative for those direct links, and that's a really great way to customize a guide for a particular instructor and bring students really closer into the resources. So great question.
Thank you very much. And again, in the interest of time, we are going to move on, but if we didn't get to your question today, we do commit to getting back to you in the very near future. Today is just one step of our partnership with you. We're grateful for your time and commit to continuing the partnership. And again, we hope that you found these resources helpful and that you can start using them right away. Here on this page, the links are right here to our customer success team, the marketing resource center, our videos, and those ready to use monthly social media posts. So take a moment before the session is over, left hand of your screen, you can download it right now, and that way, when you think about this in a few days, you know where you can go to quickly access that information. And if you have any trouble downloading it, just shoot us an email and we'll be happy to send it over to you. We are grateful for your time today and for your questions. And again, if you think of something after today's session or any time, don't hesitate to reach out to us. As you log out today, you'll see a brief 3-question survey. Please let us know what you thought about today's session and how we can improve in the future. On behalf of the NewsBank team, thank you for spending part of your day with us. Goodbye.